Everybody, welcome back. We're doing another Marvel Future Revolution video. We are trying to figure out who is to blame for what is going on in game. We've got a lot of different stuff that we thought could have happened, and there's got to be somebody sort of, or a group of people at the crux of this. There's just too many obvious factors that seem to be an issue, and we'll do some of the videos on that, but I want to try to stay as high level as I can. So I'm going to explore who might be at the center point of the issues that we're experiencing in game, because like I said in some other videos, I'm not convinced it's the devs, and I think that the developers have made a beautiful game, and that game should be is something to be proud of. So there's some other factors that are keeping this game from being as amazing as it could be as far as a worldwide population and people playing it. So let's explore it.
WolverThor!
Okay, so I'm gonna start off with, there is a video I put out a while ago, what is it, on August 13th, so I don't know, two-ish weeks ago. This one here, devs speak new game mode. I was thinking about this because I was like, wasn't there a, something that I was talking about in that, with, the developers and, somebody chatting and all these sort of things. So I went back to that video, I was kind of going through it. Ultimately what it is this article. So if you guys remember, behind the design, Marvel Future Revolution. And I was like, I swear this article had somebody who was like basically the head. So I went to this and I was scrolling through it. And I mean, they won this award, this behind the design Marvel Future Revolution. And look, everything aside in this game, you have to admit the game at its core is beautiful. The gameplay, the way that the characters feel when you play them, their fluidity, the way they quickly move around, it is all quite amazing. So I think in that regard, the game's beautiful, right? So there must be something else going on. There's some decisions being made about where there are paywalls. And if you're not familiar with what a paywall is you get to a certain point, and to get past that point, it either takes 3 years or a paywall, meaning pay money to get past it. Or there's decisions to not put certain offers in the game. So that's sort of where I think things hit, because, and I might do a different video on this, I haven't decided yet, but I'm talking to some people about how their free-to-play experience, where they started new characters out because Wolverine came, and they're like, well, I want to play again. And the long and short of it is that after a couple weeks, they're like, I can't do anything. Like, I'm stuck. Nobody's running low-level stuff. There's nothing around. I have to ask friends for carry. So if I don't have friends in game already, I'm not going to be able to do that. So there's a problem there. And I think that ties in with this retention thing we talk about. So anyway, the game is beautiful, right? And then, so here it is Netmarble production director Joe Lee. And I'm like, okay, this person, the production director, I think this person's the head game master, if I had to guess, is like, they're clearly the one making decisions. The person, now I have to admit, now when I read this, I was like, I really liked the things that he said, hip hop dancing, live like a clown, have some fun. I'm like, okay, now this is an article, so obviously everyone's going to put on their, best face. I don't know if he's truly like that or not, but I really liked what he said in here. So, Joe Lee is going to be the first step of my focus here is, Joe Lee seems to be, he's a production director, which to me means that he's making the decisions on where this game needs to go. The things that, what are they going to put in there? How much compensation are they going to have? How much reward should we give people? What sort of offers are they going to be out there? Because that person is going to decide, or be at least at the table of making those decisions of how hard do I want this game to be for people to stick around or to progress. Now, for me, one of the things that I want to talk about a little bit before moving on and exploring this more is, who is Deathpool does those charts, right? He does those charts where it is simply, showing the population. I think we're down to about 30,000 people globally. The Omega Flight server is almost under 1,000 people. And that's just from people doing Battle Challenge. That's not even active, people. So if you go, into, like for instance, I go Alliance, let's just go Alliance rankings, and it's, so you've got these three alliances, Spider Pigs, X-Force, and Olympian Gods, are the main three who compete Multiverse, Marauders, Aegis. It looks like some of these other ones are semi-close. So it's kind of one of these things where there's not, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish, 7, 8, you know, and then it starts really getting small. It's like, okay, I mean, it really falls off really quickly there. So that's at most 50 people. So it's 100, 200, 300, 400, okay, 500 maybe, you know, who are actually active in doing these things. And then when you're looking at, let's just look at the Alliance raid, you know, and you go here. I mean, it's today when I'm shooting this is Monday. So, you know, right now it's sort of, you know, not a lot of people are doing it, but let's just look at all the alliances in here. So most of these alliances are all on level 1. All right, so then we got a good handful on level 2, 1 on level 3, 3 on level 4, a couple on 5, few on 6, someone 7. And then a couple on 8, and then I'm guessing none on 9, and we're on 10. So this is, it is literally the first day of this, so this isn't a necessarily indication. But what I will say is, this is a predictor of what eventually happens anyway, is that all of these alliances, we end up being the only one finishing it. I think a couple other ones get in the 16 to 18 range. And then you've got a lot, basically 10 or below, which is sort of crazy to me. It's like, okay, there's not more sort of doing that, which anyway, the point of this is that the population is dwindling, and it's been dwindling forever, ever since I've seen Deathpool putting these out. And it's like, okay, so there's this, and the reason is there seems to be this paywall. So that is part of what I wanted to explore a little bit, is that I was asking a couple, 2 players that I know who have done this, that I've played the game with, who know what the end game is like, and have also re-rolled onto a completely free-to-play character starting from scratch. And the long and short of it was that, like I said, it's a mega war is a pain. You can't, I mean, there's the level 110 exploits, where what that means is there are powerful players out there who leave one character at level 110, and they put high level gear on them so that they can fight and beat up on all these young, like, people who don't have any power. You know, talking about worrying about, you know, the game, like, sustaining, like, that doesn't help when you've got somebody trying to just learn the game and have fun. So that's, you know, one issue. They've got all of this stuff where, you know, after about 2 weeks in, unless you're super insanely dedicated, you quit. And the main reason is that, you know, like I said earlier, there's not a plethora of people running level 100 or less blitzes. I'm doing some blitzes to finish out these collections, and I'll see one player in there every once in a while. So, you know, like I'm trying to get this last one for level 80. I'm trying to get that piece right there. So I drop in there and I'll see 1 or 2 people every once in a while, and I try to help them. I'm like, I'll sit there and queue for a minute, see if anyone pops. If someone does show up in there, I'll make sure to try to run 3 or 4 with them just to help them through as best I can. But that doesn't happen very often, and people are hitting these walls where they can't compete in a Mega War, Dimension Duel, there's not anything there. So anyway, the point of that is that it's not fun for them. So there's clearly a decision being made here by what I believe to be is Joe, or at least somebody at his level. Like, he's the production director, right? He is the production director. So when we're talking about this, you know, who else would be at that level making these decisions? So I'm looking at Joe, you know, and Joe, if you're out there, if you by chance catch this, please come talk to the community, come ask, or, you know, share what you're going to do to help build the community. Because I don't think it's very difficult to make this game a lot more. There's a couple real easy buttons that you could do, which, you know, I'll talk about not in this video, but in the future, that you can, again, just immediately make some things easier. One, I'll throw for you right now. How about this? You give somebody who finishes, let's say, New Stark City or Hydra, give them a 5 or 6 star, yes, 5 or 6 star set of gear for that region. Full set of Hydra, 5 and 6 star. Maybe, let's just say 6. You know why? Because it's not going to get them anywhere in the end game anyway. It's going to give them 1 set of full gear. And you know what? Guess what? Their stats might not be good either. So they're going to have to figure that. And you know what? There's also cards. There's cores. There's companions. There's all these other mechanics and mechanisms that you can get them to go make money on. So why don't As soon as they finish a zone, you give them that set. And if you want to be real nice and fair to all the people who are already out there who've already finished it, send them the same thing. Okay, then that way they don't complain, because you know we like to complain. So, you know, stuff like that out there so that you retain your new players, so that it is not super difficult to solo level 80, level 90, level 100 Dormammu stories. And they don't have to go to global chat and beg for somebody to help them through. They're like, oh, I'm strong enough. Now, I know some people sit here and think, well, if the people who don't grind aren't going to pay, so who cares? But you know what? Why that's a faulty sense of thinking is because if you don't have a player base and they all keep quitting, you have zero chance for them to eventually think about wanting to pay for something. Because sometimes when somebody gets around another group of people who likes to pay, who like to play endgame, they start thinking, I want to be like them. I want to be at that level. I want to learn to be at that level. I will pay to be at that level. And I think Joe, and the other part of this that I'm gonna throw in there is the marketing team. The people who are actually marketing the game as far as the offers go. I'm assuming that's a marketing team decision. Also dropping the ball on this. Like, put offers out there to entice something that's $1 to $5, $10 that actually can make an impact on the game. You know, you need so much. One of the things that I want to share with you guys real quick, again, in game. We're gonna go in game. All right, we're gonna go to the store. There is it's in the draws, this thing. So this chance, there's a 100 chance. Now 5, you've got essentially a 5% chance to pull, 5-star gear. That's pretty good, right? It's pretty good. You know how much it's gonna cost? So if you do all 100 of these pulls, first off, it's limited to 100. It'll cost you $2,200 to do that. You will still be 11 nanos short of fully nanoed on that. So imagine this. You are 11 nanos short of finishing a full set of gear after spending $2,200. You might not even have the right stats. It's not even including any cards. It's not including any cores. It's not including any companions. And plus you've got the skill. And plus, like I mentioned, the stats might not even be right. So there are so many layers of progression in the game, and then there's levels of RNG within those layers. I'm good with some RNG, but you guys, and I'm talking to you, Netmarble, you to Joe, the marketing team, whoever might be out there, this is, I'm speculating here, but whoever's out there making these decisions, that's not a good decision. You are not going to get people to stick around for that. There is a reason the population of your game continues to dwindle. There is a reason the game is not making money. It's not because the game is beautiful. The gameplay is amazing. So there's a fundamental reason why some of the people aren't sticking around, and that's one of it. Now, there's other aspects of continual gameplay, continual fun. I don't want this video to be an hour long, so anyway. So I've, like I said, so I started looking into this a little bit. I see Joe out there. I kind of wonder a little bit. I found an article where they interviewed Joe, which I think is interesting. He goes through he introduces himself. He shows this award, which is great. This article's from almost a year ago. This is a different award. It's not the same award I was talking about. One of the best apps, and they're not wrong. The app itself is pretty cool. And one of the things I found very interesting here was that, where is it? It talks about, let's see, what you think some of the best aspects of the game. What do you think is the most significant point of the word? Okay, but can you pick the most significant part of Future Revolution? And I think it was it where he says, an answer might go a different way to propose the question, but I indeed must say that I think the overall quality. So they didn't they focused on the quality. They didn't compromise on the quality of the contact points with users, fundamental gameplay to graphics, story, music, voice actors. And that's true. It's one of the things that I've been absolutely preaching to anybody who's like, I'm a little worried about this game. I'm like, dude, have you seen all the money they put into this? The designs, the graphics, the voice actors, the theatric, it's all top notch for a mobile game. But it still falls short. And why? Why? I believe the answer is what I've laid out in front of you, is that maybe people like Joe, maybe the marketing people, they're sitting here talking about, what are you guys doing? Like, I don't understand. So Joe, again, if you're listening to this, please take into consideration adjusting some things, because the truth of the matter is the game has always already got a dwindling population, and you might as well just try something that makes it better. You know, like do some of the things. And I'm going to put out another video, and I'm going to continue to try to push this narrative. And I hope that you will consider listening to some of these things and try to make this game better. And if it's not you, please, you probably can't share exactly who it is, but help the community understand what's going on, so that, you know, we can focus on gameplay and see what's going on, or decide if we want to continue playing this game or not. Because I want to. I like it. It's fun, right? But I understand these people who quit because of a paywall. So anyway, that's my plea to you. That's all I got for today. Appreciate you guys hanging out this far. If you want to hammer down like buttons, click notification bells, subscribe, appreciate you. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.